you want to be aware what the material situation is at all times. A lot of times, you can just match it up. 2 minor pieces, 2 minor pieces, queen for queen, rook for rook. How much material is white down? A whole rook, right? All right, so what do you think white did here? There's a pin piece. You want to pile up on the pin piece.
The other rook?
That's right, he plays RD1. All right, and black in this position played QE6.
Oh.
Now, yeah, anyone want to guess what the move is? This is a little hard game, so I just threw something out here.
Bishop takes rook on d7.
That's right. All right, and this is kind of a cool point, is the difference between experienced players and inexperienced players. Inexperienced players always think from here to there. Strong players look over there and wonder if they can get there. So for example, in this position, if you could put this rook on any square of the board, where would you put it? I'm not saying it's a legal move, but where would you like to put this rook if you could? Come on, it's not that hard, guys.
On the 7th, sorry.
No, not a legal move. If you could drop this rook on any square on the board, where would you put it? Naomi? D8, you'd put it there. It'd be checkmate, wouldn't it? So the problem is in this position, so a strong player sees that. And inexperienced players, they don't. So a strong player sees that the rook wants to be on D8, but the problem is what? The knight is in the way. So then the strong player starts stepping back and says, by any means necessary, how do I make that knight leave? By force. How do I make the knight leave? And that's what you want to get to, is the ability to think like that. So how do I make the knight leave? Yes.
You can put the queen
That's
on
it.
D8.
That's it. That's it. So that's how a more experienced player will see this very quickly, and an inexperienced player will miss it. So if you see what you want, you imagine what you want, and then see if you can get it. Most of the time, you can't get what you want. Most of the time, but you keep looking and looking and looking. So you just play QB8. That's right. That's a brilliant move. So the only way out is knight takes queen, and then game's over. What did Paul Morphy play?
Rook d8.
Rook d8, mate. Yeah. And it's cool. Really strong players, you read books like by Gary Kasparov, and he's writing about his games and stuff, a famous world champion, and all the time in his writings, he's always saying in a given position, oh, in this position I remember blah, blah, blah game. And in blah, blah, blah game, the guy did this, or the guy did that. Because they've gone over so many games, they're harvesting all these patterns. That's why it's great going over games like this. It's really good, memorizing them, and then you'll have and I don't even think of memorizing. It's just so much fun to do. It's just like your favorite songs. You don't sit down and memorize your favorite songs. You just listen to them so much you can sing along with them, right? You just know them because you've heard them so much, because you enjoy it so much. And in chess, it's sort of like that. I don't even like the word memorize. It's just like you like to do it so much. And if you do it a little bit, it goes in the front part of your brain, which is short-term memory. But if you do it a lot, you remember it. So let's just go through it again real quick. E4, E5, NF3, Philidor's defense, D4, what was the move? BG4, and Morphy took, and the Duke took, and he took which way? With the queen, and black played pawn takes pawn, and white played bishop C4, and black played NF6, and here was the hard move, right? Queen B3, and then the Duke played QE7, observing F7, and then Morphy didn't take, he played knight C3, and C6 to laterally, means this way, defend B7, and he played BG5, and then he played B5, and he played knight takes, pawn takes, bishop takes, and BD7, and what did white do? Castle long, and then the Duke played RD8, and then Morphy took, and then piled up on the pin piece, and then he played QE6, and he took with check. Oops, I got a clump of pieces there, don't I? And then he took, and he played checky poo, knight takes, and checkmate. So that's one way. The beauty of chess, there's so many different ways to improve. One's going over games, a lot of kids love creative problems, setting up stuff, like setting up checkmates. We'll do one last thing here. So you guys are a little bit more advanced. but I do lots of what we call quarter board problems, where you only work on a quarter board or whole board. Have you ever guys ever done whole board problems? Like place 5 queens on a chessboard so it attacks every square? Have you done that before? Or put 8 queens on a chessboard so none of the queens are observing each other? Have you guys done problems like that? No, not yet? Those are really fun. You start with doing quarter board problems. So, if I don't stop here, I'll just keep going, huh? So imagine these are queens. Those are 4 queens, and we want to put them on a quarter board so that none of them are observing each other. How do we do it? These are almost ones better to do by yourself. You sit at a chessboard and do it. Anyone want to try it? You put 4 queens on a quarter board so that none of them are observing each other. Too tough? So if I go here and here, does anyone notice a pattern? What's the pattern? They're all a knight away from each other, right? And where would the last queen go? So none of them are observing, right, no here. And I have about, I don't know, 50 quarter board problems. And I put them up on sheets and kids work on them. It really helps your visualization and skills. And then other types of basic, now these maybe they're not too easy, I'm not sure, is you just take, and I'll make a hard one. This one, and see if anybody can do it. I'll just leave it up here. Here, and where's the black king? There we go. So set up a checkmate. Means you put those 3 pieces anywhere on the board so the black king is in checkmate. You can go ahead and do it. Guys,
should we give him white king as well?
No white king.
Okay.
Just rook and knight. Set the position up so there's a checkmate. The black king is in checkmate. That's right. The king in the middle of the board is 8, here it's 5, and there it's 3. So it's always going to be easiest in the corner. These are great because chess is all about patterns. You might be better on a chessboard up there. Don't be careful. Those demo boards are fragile. Bingo! Wow, very good, very good. Yep, that's it. That's it. And there's tons of these. I love doing those things. Yep.